It's time for the playoffs. I can't wait. I love the playoffs. And look, I know you're all saying, oh wait, you're a Luton fan. You got relegated. Well, you know what? I can still love Championship football. I love League One football as well. I love all football. Maybe not Scottish football. I lived in Scotland for 4 years. Honestly, the standard of football there is terrible. And I watched plenty of it, and I realised never again am I going to watch that. So I'll talk about both the playoff matches, but first I'm going to talk about Bristol City versus Sheffield United. Both teams kind of, I would say, in indifferent form going into the playoffs. Sheffield United especially, as soon as the top two spots went, with Leeds and Burnley just sort of taking off like a freight train. They went a bit, but Bristol City as well, they were in fantastic form. And then as soon as it was getting closer and closer and it actually looked like they were going to get the playoffs, they started stuttering. So Bristol City, they haven't kept a clean sheet in 11 matches. But you don't have to keep a clean sheet to win these, do you? No. So I guess it's just a case of being tough to beat. And that is something that Bristol City have really shown in spades this season. They don't have any outstanding players. They're still relying on a rather aged Naki Wells. But there are other players that have come to the fore and have done really well. One thing they will be worried about, though, is that Sheffield United haven't lost to Bristol City in their last 7 meetings. Now, obviously, Sheffield United have a squad that is absolutely stacked with superstars, and they have a sandwich-faced boss who, for all the things that you can say about Chris Wilder, he is a good manager, and he's gotten teams out of this league before. And he's done it at all levels of English football. I remember the job he did with Oxford. I remember the job he did with Northampton. And obviously, the tremendous job he did with Sheffield United first time round. But you know what I also remember? I also remember the job he did at Watford. Well, almost everyone's managed Watford, and they're going to be getting another manager very soon. I've got to do score predictions for this one. I don't know if I'll have the time to do a 2-legged one. So I'm going to say that it's going to be a very tight Sheffield United away win first leg. I reckon 1-0. And then maybe the second leg will be a bit more attritional back at Bramall Lane. The fact is, Sheffield United do have a better squad than Bristol City, but I think Liam Manning, he is a very, very good manager. But let's face it, Sheffield United have not been the same since Harry Souttar got injured. I think the star of this one is going to be, I think, Gustavo Hamer. He's had a very good season. Yes, he hasn't hit the heights that he hit with Coventry. He hasn't hit the heights that he had at Sheffield United last season, where he was their star player in a very, very miserable season. But one thing Gus Hamer loves the playoffs. He absolutely carried Coventry last time. And if it wasn't for Gus Hamer going off in the playoff final against Luton Town, Coventry would have won that in normal time. Right, now on to game 2 of the Championship playoffs. It's Coventry versus Sunderland. This will be the game of the rounds. Well, the rounds, the playoffs. This will be the game of the playoffs. But it depends entirely on whether Sunderland turn up. A lot of Sunderland fans have gotten a bit annoyed at Reggie Labrie. They think there's been a drop-off. And there has been a drop-off. A monumental drop-off. What I said about Sheffield United, as soon as the top 2 went, they dropped off. As soon Sunderland's drop-off from the top 2 came a bit earlier. And the top 3, Sheffield United, Burnley and Leeds, sort of just they sort of moved away because Sunderland sort of staggered a little bit. And then as soon as that distance kind of got a little bit too far and they got guaranteed playoffs, they really took their foot off the gas. They really did. And I worry for Sunderland that they won't be able to get their foot back on the gas. I feel they're missing someone really experienced in the middle of the park, the likes of Alan Brown, who sadly, he started, he played a couple of games, broke his leg. That is just unfortunate. There is no doubt that Sunderland have a ridiculously talented squad. And Enzo Lefebvre coming in January, it looked like a masterstroke. It really did. It looked like a brilliant bit of business. And he is good. However, the rest of the team during the regular season, they look like a bunch of guys who are just like, I can't be bothered for this. I can't be bothered. Can we just start the playoffs already? Maybe they will kickstart into gear as soon as the playoffs start. I don't know. But they have a Coventry side that have been battling to get into the playoffs. And yes, even Coventry, they have sort of dropped off a little bit of late. If Coventry were coming into the playoffs on the form that they were in 15 games ago, I would have said Coventry easily are winning the playoffs, because playoffs are all about momentum. Whereas Sunderland, when we talk about momentum, 5 straight losses. That is mad. And as I said, it goes back to the fact that they just look like a bunch of guys who are like, oh, is it the playoffs already? Can we just, like petulant children waiting for dinner time or in the car? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? It's not good. It's really not good. And I think that attitude can really come to bite you, because momentum is key. Coventry have a bit more momentum. Coventry haven't lost to Sunderland in their last 10 meetings. 5 wins, 5 draws. And Coventry at home. One thing I don't like about Coventry, I don't like their manager. Long-time listeners of the podcast will know I am not Frank Lampard's biggest fan. I think Coventry have probably one of the best squads in the Championship. I will say they have a better squad than Sunderland. I think going into the season, and I've been saying it all season, Coventry had the 4th best squad in the Championship. It's a squad that they've been curating for years now. 3 seasons where they've been finely tuning it, and they reinvested the Gyökeres money and the Hamer money incredibly well. But once again, they have sort of stuttered going into the playoffs, but they grabbed the playoffs. Do I rate Frank Lampard as manager? No. Do I have faith in the team? Yes. And I think Coventry have a very, very good shot. Sunderland, while they do have some outstanding stars, Joe Bellingham, Enzo Lefebvre, Troy Hume, I think is an incredible player. I do think Coventry will get one over on them. I'm going for a 3-1 Coventry home win in the first leg. And in the second leg, well, I guess we'll have to see what happens at the Stadium of Light. I think the first leg not being at the Stadium of Light, it could hamper Sunderland. But maybe if Sunderland can keep it tight, then they can go back to the Stadium of Light, get roared on by like the 45,000 odd people, and maybe that can get them over the line. But I guess we'll have to see. But I think Coventry will do it in the first leg. But we've seen some crazy games of football, haven't we? Cast your mind back to Sheffield Wednesday versus Peterborough a couple of years ago. No one would have given Sheffield Wednesday a shot. No one. But you know what? They came back from pretty much being dead and buried, and they brought it level in regular time, and they took it all the way through extra time, and they won it. Can you believe it? The playoffs are magical. I love the playoffs. It's better than the regular season, in my opinion, because it's do or die. It's wonderful. We're going to be doing these for the playoffs, so get involved. Let us know who you think are going to win the playoffs. Remember, if you're not subscribed already, hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have you along on our way to 3,000 subscribers. Loads more Championship content coming throughout the off-season and next season. So jump aboard. Everyone, whoever you support, have a great week.